All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a fascinating secret from the world of computer science. It's this sort of universal key that helps us solve problems that, for a long time, we thought were just, well, impossible. It's a story about pure logic, a ton of creativity, and a really elegant way to handle absolute chaos.
So take a look at these challenges. At first, you'd think they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. I mean, one's about scheduling golfers, another is about packing materials, some are about designing computer chips. But believe it or not, they all share this hidden, fundamental connection that makes them all incredibly hard to solve.
Okay, let's dive into this a bit. Take the social golfer problem, for instance. You've got a group of golfers and they want to play in smaller groups every week. The puzzle? You have to make a schedule so that no two golfers are ever in the same group more than once. Sounds simple enough, right? But as you're about to see, the complexity just spirals out of control almost instantly. And yet, this puzzle, and all the others we're looking at today, can all be cracked using the exact same secret weapon. So what is it that makes these problems so incredibly tough? Well, they all share the same formidable enemy. It's a phenomenon that can bring even the most powerful supercomputers in the world to their knees, which makes the brute force approach, just trying every single possibility, completely and utterly useless.
Think about it like this. Say you're planning a dinner party. With just 4 guests, you have 6 possible seating arrangements. No big deal. But add a 5th guest, and that number jumps to 24. A 10th guest? You're looking at over 3.5 million possibilities. That right there is combinatorial explosion. The number of options doesn't just grow, it skyrockets at a dizzying rate, creating a search space so ridiculously vast, it's practically infinite.
To put this into perspective, let's head back to our golfers. Research shows that for a pretty modest group of just 32 players, the number of potential schedules is a 3 followed by 33 zeros. That number is it's staggeringly huge. It's bigger than the estimated number of atoms in our entire galaxy. You could have every computer on Earth running from the beginning of the universe until now, and you wouldn't even begin to scratch the surface of checking every option.
So if just trying everything, brute force, is completely off the table, what's the solution? Well, the hero of our story is a concept from computer science called Boolean satisfiability, or just SAT for short. You can think of it like a universal problem-solving engine. It works by translating any of these chaotic, real-world puzzles into the clean, simple language of pure logic. Now, don't let the name scare you. At its heart, SAT is really just the world's most fundamental logic puzzle. It takes a long list of logical rules, things like A must be true, or B and C can't both be true at the same time, and it just asks one simple question. Is there any combination of trues and falses for A, B, and C that makes all of these rules work together? If the answer is yes, we say the problem is satisfiable. And this is the crucial point. The magic isn't actually in the SAT solver itself. I mean, modern solvers are incredibly powerful, but they're just the engine. The real genius, the true art form, is in how we translate our messy, real-world puzzle into the strict, true-false language that the engine can actually understand. This whole translation process is called encoding. This is where we turn rules like no two golfers can be in the same group twice into a massive formula of ands, ors, and nots. A bad encoding might be technically correct, but it's so convoluted that the solver just gets lost in the weeds. A brilliant encoding, on the other hand, captures the deep structure of the problem, and it guides the solver to a solution with incredible efficiency. This right here, this is the secret sauce. And this brings us to the really cool part of the story. For years, researchers pretty much thought that the best encoding was the smallest one, the one with the fewest variables and rules. But a recent breakthrough revealed this powerful, kind of counterintuitive truth. Sometimes a bigger, more intelligently structured encoding is actually much, much faster. This quote from the research paper on the social golfer problem just sums it up perfectly. The performance of the solver doesn't just depend on how big the problem is, but on the quality and the structure of that logical recipe we give it. And this chart, wow, it just illustrates the point brilliantly. So here we have 2 different ways to encode the very same golfer problem. The first method, SCE-SBM, it created a smaller formula, about 53,000 variables and 7.6 million logical rules. But after 1,800 seconds, that's half an hour, the solver just gave up, timed out. The second method, NSENSC, created a larger formula, over 62,000 variables and 12 million rules. And yet, It found the solution in just over 6 minutes. Bigger was actually better.
So what made the bigger encoding smarter? Well, instead of translating each and every rule in total isolation, the new approach looks for patterns. It encodes entire blocks of related constraints together, which preserves the problem's underlying structure. It's kind of like, instead of giving a chef a long list of individual ingredients, you give them a sub-recipe for making the sauce. It provides more context, and that helps the solver see the bigger picture and just chop away entire branches of the search tree way more effectively.
And this principle holds true across totally different domains. In the strip packing problem, which is all about fitting rectangles onto a strip with minimum waste, a simpler strategy actually outperformed a more complex one. The incremental approach tried to solve it with one giant all-in-one formula, but it solved fewer cases. The non-incremental approach, which solved a series of smaller, more focused problems, was more successful. Again, a smarter, more direct way of asking the question won out.
Now, I know this all might seem very academic, but the implications here are absolutely massive. This breakthrough in how we ask the question is changing how we solve some of the most complex logistical, design, and planning problems in the entire world. Every single item on this list represents a billion-dollar industry that relies on solving these impossible combinatorial puzzles. We're talking about figuring out the most efficient way to load a cargo ship, arranging millions of components on a new processor, or scheduling all the tasks for a massive construction project. The art of the encoding is becoming an absolutely critical tool for innovation and efficiency. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. When you're facing impossible complexity, sometimes the answer isn't just more horsepower. It's a more elegant question. A better encoding is like a key that perfectly fits the lock, turning an intractable mess into a puzzle you can actually solve. This technique transforms problems of scheduling, packing, and routing into a universal format. And it opens up a really fascinating question. If any problem that's defined by rules and constraints can be translated into pure logic, what other fields are just waiting for their perfect encoding? What seemingly impossible challenge out there is just one clever translation away from its solution?